Hey, what's up, guys? So I know that I was talking with you just the other day about what the fanatical scouting is all about. There's a problem with this approach, but the problem really only exists if you're playing in a country like American Samoa or Taiwan or like Ethiopia or I don't know, like Somalia or one of these really really small countries that only have a certain number of teams that are open. The problem's pretty easy to describe. The problem is that there just simply are not enough players, right? So I'll show you here what we're running into, right? My scouts are still only looking at young players. I only let them do that. I don't want them to go around looking at other guys. I definitely don't want them to leave the island, right? There's not that many teams here on the island that actually have players, right? I don't think that any of the teams that are underneath the first division have any players created for them. I don't know of any Taiwan database out there that has more than just like one division, and because I'm doing the whole world at once, I don't really want to add it because it would make my computer run as slow as molasses. But, we look at these guys who come up again on the scouting report. They've come up again because they're on my short list. The problem here is that none of them have any transfer interest. Why? Because they're like 16 years old, right? So we get these guys back on. You want to keep these guys in your short list because then you'll know that they're available. They'll come back up and it will remind you that these players can be signed. But for right now, this guy's 17, but he has no transfer interest at all. And the reason why is because he's 17 years old. He wants to stay with this team for a little while and try to develop himself, despite the fact that he's non-contract. I mean, this guy would come in and would be the number 2 striker on the squad. I don't know if he's actually playing for the first team for the Taipei Skywalkers. He's not. Right. I mean, hopefully we can lift this guy off without him ever playing an actual league match for them, which would be a huge steal for us. I mean, this guy might end up being better than Nene, which would be amazing. Right. Same thing with this guy, 17-year-old center back. Here we have a 16-year-old center back who looks really, really good, except, of course, for the unambitious part. But again, no transfer interest. And here again, no transfer interest with this 16-year-old fullback. And this guy, Chen Chaoan, is a current international playing for Leopard Cat. Leopard Cat are awful. Right. But he has no interest in coming to us because he's so young, because he's only 16 years old. Right. I mean, he's already playing on the international team. So like, this is really where the issue lies. Right. The problem that we really have, and this comes with all leagues that are small like this, is that there's only so many teams, which means you only get so many players from year to year, which means that by this time, you know who everybody is. Right. So when we look at Hangyuan, we know who every single one of these players are. There's only one. I mean, Zhang Haoren was on our team before. I never played him. Zhou Hongyi is one who was signed off of us. I would really like to get him back if possible, but he's not going to want to come sign for us right away. He's a little bit fickle, I suppose, But that's the thing. We know about every single one of these players. Xu Weijie, I think, is one who, we had him before. I think we released him because he played poorly in 2 matches, right? He doesn't want to play for us again because he's really upset about what I did to him. We all remember Ocher Wei, right? This is the problem, right? We have seen every one of these players. We've already scouted every single one of them. There's like no interesting or fascinating thing that can possibly happen, right? The most that we can get out of this are some young players, some new gens who are good, which means that they'll be young. But the problem is that we cannot sign them because they're too young. And so as a result, and we look over here at our transfer history, you can see that our transfers in this year have been very, very small. We've only managed to pull in, I mean, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 players. That's all we got. This is the same team that pulled in like 50 players, a couple of seasons ago. And the reason why is because we're only looking at guys who we haven't seen before. These guys are all young. I mean, that one was 16. Some of these guys might actually no longer be... see, this guy's not on our team anymore. He's on Inter Taoyuan. The reason why is because we released him because of his poor personality. And I looked at this and I thought, we don't want guys who really have bad personalities. Here we go. Huyu is an example of a guy that we pulled on that we have. Maybe he's going to be okay, maybe not, right? Again, 16 years old, and we can go through this all. Again, 16 years old, you're going to see this. These are the exceptions to the rules. These are those few guys who came on or who decided that they wanted to sign for a different team despite how young they are, despite that they're, not really of a more advanced age. Probably not up to the point where he can play for the first team. He's way off first team level and all of this, but... I mean, I guess it's something for the future. We have a below average squad as an under 18 squad. That's not really a great sign, right? It's not really a very large squad, as you can see. I mean, we have grayed out players who come in because I got rid of all the guys who had personalities I didn't like, right? And you can see that we also have a couple of guys here who are unavailable for next match because they are on the senior squad. Even our senior squad here, by the way, doesn't have that many players. I got rid of a bunch of guys who technically were not inconsistent, but who didn't have the best personalities in the world, or who simply were not good enough to ever actually play for our team, right? We do have some guys on here who don't have great personality still, right? Temperamental, for example, Huang Chiwei, who has started a number of games, has a very, very poor personality, we need him to have a better one, although he's played well in his matches in the league. So, it could be worse, right? This is actually sort of what we like to see. That's sort of, for me at least, the next step of trying to get the squad into something that I really want it to become. But it's difficult, right? I keep bugging the board. I keep saying, hey, let's spend some of this extra money we have that's just sitting in the bank. Let's go spend it on improving things. So I request increase the junior coaching budget, right? We can't get better youth recruitment at the time. I think I just requested that. I think the best that we can do otherwise is to request actual training facilities, right? I know that we could be saving up and trying to go professional, but there's not much we can do with this. There's another thing here, by the way, that drives me nuts, and this isn't really related to signing players. It's the fact that we have all of this wage budget, right? We have €4,000 per week wage budget. We are never going to spend more than €2,000 a week. There's no way, but we can't make any sort of budget adjustment. It won't let me make any more adjustment than this. I don't understand why this is. I don't know if it has to do with some of the modifications that I've been using or what, but it really is a little bit frustrating because I would really like to see this money taken away and put back into the budget, or put into the transfer budget, or put into the scouting budget, or put somewhere, right? Because as it stands right now, we're just kind of wasting it, right? Scouting budget, see, we can add a little bit more scouting budget on because we're not really going to use much of that transfer budget. So we can do this, right, and have fun with it. But what are we going to do? We're not going to look beyond Taiwan. The reason why we're not going to look beyond Taiwan is because there's absolutely no point in doing so, right? We are not going to sign players who are not from Taiwan. Yeah, we need 21,000. All right. We're not going to sign players who are not from Taiwan because we already have too many. That's the problem, right? We already have 2 players, so I'm probably going to end up having to release in the end. And I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know. You can see here where the issue is, right? We have to sign players who are like homegrown, who are from country, right? Because we have very little other options because of the rules, and yet there are not enough Taiwanese players for us to sign and to have good quality players at every position. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully we can continue to convince the board to spend this money on improvements that we need to get good young players, so we don't have to keep going out and trying to hope to steal guys off. For all else fails, we can wait until they turn 18, and it's kind of worked to this point. We can even go over here and look at the short list and see, if there are any guys who are a little bit older who we might take off. Huang Guanda, we actually were in for him, and he wound up signing with Tainan City, and so we ended up losing him. And then you go straight over to Liu Yuting, who I think was one of the players we just looked at, who has no transfer interest. We have to wait till he's 18. So anyway, there you go. That's sort of the problem that exists with this method in a small place like Taiwan. If you're in a country with a lot of teams, if you're playing like France, Germany, England, especially with lower leagues turned on, you're not going to notice this at all. But if you're out here playing in some of these boonies type countries, you'll notice this after a little while. This is one of the reasons why you need to win your league and win the Champions League as soon as you can, and then get out before things start falling apart. There you have it. Talk to you later. Bye.